click on the architectural design millimeters. Because I'm working in Australia, we're in metric, so we'll just use that. Let's click start. I'm just going to get rid of this instructor and I'm going to delete our person here. Now, this isn't my normal working computer, so it's going to be a bit slower than usual. Usually I've got a nice keyboard and a nice mouse to work with, but I'm using my MacBook at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with some basic tools and some kind of construction techniques that are common. Now where I am, we use concrete masonry block, which are 400 millimeters by 200 millimeters. We'll just zoom in on that. Yeah, 200 millimeters high. In actual fact, they're 390 by 190, but you have a 10 millimeter mortar gap. Just going to group that into Now that is your basic building block for any house. And how are you going to use that? Well, all you basically have to remember is that every house is going to be in increments of 100 millimeters. Because you've got this size, and then you've got a half block, and then you've got a quarter block. So basically, with these, you can make any house. Just going to get rid of those. Now, I'm going to be working off a design layout that I have, but it's not on the screen, so you're just going to have to follow along. I'm going to start with garage. It's usually 5800 by 5800. That's internal dimension. So this is the internal pad for garage. I'm going to offset that 200 for your wall. That's 2400 high. Group those together. I'm going to add the garage door, which is 2300 high. And it's going to be 5 meters wide, so I'm just going to do half that for the moment. Now the shortcuts for SketchUp are really easy. I might go through a couple of them just when I'm using them. Now orbit is O. You won't really need that if you've got a mouse, just because you can hold down the middle mouse wheel. I've got line is L on the keyboard. R is rectangle. C is circle. Just trying to think what else. Yeah, that should be all you need. Z is zoom. Right, now that we've got garage, it's not 100% right, because garage is dropped down 100 mil from the main slab, so this is actually going to be a lower. This is going to be 100 mil lower as well. Alright, now there's a plugin that I recommend you all get. I haven't actually got it on this computer at the moment, but I'll do a separate tutorial on that. Now from this point, I'm going to start adding some more rooms. So I'm going to come back here, open up my group, I'm going to come back here, 2 meters, I'm going to come across 1200 for my entry. 200 again. 3 meters. There, which is another 3 meters. Usually in a professional workflow, I would be importing a floor plan from AutoCAD, usually supplied by the building company or the architect. In this particular situation, I have the free version of SketchUp on my laptop at home, but so this doesn't have the import functionality as the professional version. You can't import. Oh, you can! Yay! Then I'll be doing another tutorial on how to import AutoCAD DWG files, or maybe just because this is running as the professional trial version, maybe. So I am going to get back into it. I'm going to offset this 200, offset this 200 for my block work. I'm going to draw a rectangle, move these points out. I'm going to erase, which is E on the keyboard. I'll bring this up. I'm going to make a corner column, which is going to be 300 millimeters by 300 millimeters. I'm going to project that up to the roof. I'm going to delete this down here. I'm going to delete this down face. So basically, when you're doing architectural visualization for a building, usually you don't really need to go much further modeling the house than this. You just need the front elevation, basically. You'll need to do some internal work just so you're not seeing through to your rear plane, your vanishing point up the back of your work. So what you would normally do is have an internal wall here. And that will basically block the view from any windows that are in this, or a glass door maybe, from seeing through to an unmodeled area, which can make it look unreal, not in a good way. I'm just going to set up kind of the angle that I'm going to be looking for in my final view. And I'm going to go up to Window, Scenes, I'm going to go Add. And this is going to make sure that I can come back to this scene. Right, now I'm just going to add some windows to this area. They're going to be what's known as double hung windows. So they're going to be long and sliding up and down. Now, they're going to be 1500 millimeters high. If you're not sure on any of the techniques that I'm using to model this, there are plenty of really good basic SketchUp tutorials that will get you pretty much started. There's no real kind of advanced stuff that I'm doing right now. This is all just basic drawing a shape and projecting it out. If I draw a shape on a wall, I can project it through the wall and cut it on the other side. If you go too far, it projects through the wall and wants to keep going. Add my door. Doors are usually 2100 high. I'm just going to actually move this door over 100 millimeters. Set it up a bit. Now, doorways, they range in size. Usually entry doors are 900 millimeters wide. Internal doors are 900 millimeters wide. They can be 800 millimeters wide. You can get 1200 entry doors. You can get double entry doors, which are 1600 or 1700. Right, let's keep going. Now, in concrete masonry block construction, you have what's known as bond beams, which are basically a block that you fill with concrete that will work as a kind of a support beam for the roof. Add a couple of those in these front columns. Tie it back in. Again, yeah, let's have a look. Now obviously these are just the walls. I'm going to start adding the roof now into this front area. Now, where I am in Australia, our eaves are usually 600 millimeters from the wall projected. So now this is my wall line. So I grab the offset tool, come out, 600. There's where our eaves are going to be. That's going to be our eave line. And there's a couple of ways of drawing roofs. Like I said, there's a great plugin that you can just draw the shape of the footprint of the roof, click a button, and it's done. You don't have to do anything more. If you don't have that plugin, I didn't used to have that plugin. I used to do it a different way. I used to have to manually draw the roof. Now, if you don't care about what pitch the roof is, you can just do something like this. Grab that point, pull it up here, just put it on all of these corners. But I actually care about what pitch is going to be on this roof, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to draw something called a flag. It's a model that helps you basically do anything you want with specific angles. So this flag is designed to take this protractor tool, and because it has a face here, it likes to snap on it. If this face wasn't there, if you just had a line and you got the protractor tool, it would want to snap to this face, which is not what you want. So you grab a flag, which is just a basic shape, and you snap it to this face, come out here. Now I want this roof to be 20 degrees, so down in the bottom right hand corner, about 20, press enter. And I'm going to draw a line over the top of the flag and delete the flag. Scale this line up, so just press S to scale, click this top corner, scale it up. Now you don't want to scale like this, you don't want to scale like this, because that will change the angle. So you want to change just the two opposite corners. Scale it through this center point, draw a line, intersect them, and draw a line from that to this corner, and there's your angle. Now I'm going to take that and place it on all four of these corners. Draw 5, and this other one. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come to the center, and come back down, grab my other angle. Now how I'm copying these, if you don't know, I click on it, press M for move, and then I press Alt, which makes you able to duplicate it. So now we've got all these. What do we do with those? I'm just going to hide this for now. Now if we grab this corner, scale it the same way that we were doing before, so it's kind of a proportional scale. Scale it up pretty far. Grab this one, scale it, intersect, and delete these two end bits, and then join them. And that's the first plane for our roof. So group those together. I'm going to open the group and come here. I'm just going to use these as like a guideline now. I'm just going to scale it out. Come over here, drag it across. That's the second part. Do the same thing again. This time I'm going to grab this corner that I've already done. It's facing the right way. I'm going to grab it from the corner, bring it up here. That's the next part. And do the same thing again. If you're not sure how a hip roof works, I'll do another tutorial on that at a later date if you need it. They're fairly simple. Basically, any roof shape, if it's parallel and perpendicular walls, any roof shape, any building can have a hip roof. Basically, there's some really interesting, intricate designs that can happen with hip roofs and all that, but basically it's a very versatile roof shape. So I'm going to show you, just come back, I'm just going to have it again, I'm going to update the scene. Now this is basic front elevation for an architectural visualization project. I'm just going to move this up 150 millimeters for the gutter that I'll be putting on later. And I'm also going to edit this and add this plane so the shading is correct when I render it out eventually. I won't be dealing with rendering in this tutorial, in this section of it, because that's a whole other tutorial. It's a lot to go through. I'll bring these, my eaves, out, goes to there, come along here, grab this, take it out, right, now, there's our basic front elevation. If you actually want to use this as a front elevation, go to camera, parallel projection, view, toolpath. Just going to go to camera, standard views, front. Now you can export this to 2D graphic, change that to PDF or DWG, and then you've got a basic elevation for floor plans. Now I noticed that the proportions of these are not really great, so I'm just going to change. These. Now I'm going to perspective view. It's a great website for Australian manufacturers, but it works basically anywhere. And most manufacturers will have similar things on their website. It's called steelselect.com.au. Wait for my browser to catch up. This website has a lot of products in vector form. So if I want to grab a gutter for my model, I also want to grab a fascia as well. I'm going to grab just a standard quad gutter if I can find it. There we go. Should be able to download CAD model of it. That might be in this section. There we go, get CAD. Download the DWG file. So we can import that. Go here. Just going to import that from my desktop. Change this to DWG. Import. It's imported it. It's obviously way too big. I know this gutter is 125 millimeters wide. So I'm just going to scale that down. What I've done is drawn two lines so I know 125 millimeters wide. I'm going to scale it until it snaps to that point. So we delete those two lines. And we've got a scaled version. I can see that this might have some breaks. Might not be perfect. Oh no, that's all good. Now what I usually do, just to get a face from it, connect those 2 points. Then delete and delete. That gets you a face, but I'm not going to do that for now. Do that. Obviously we're going to need a fascia as well, but just for the moment, right? I'll do that now. Do the same thing. Import on the desktop. flat fascia. So obviously huge again. Fascias I know are usually about 150 millimeters high. So I'm going to do the same trick as I did last time. 150. Grab this. Scale it down. It won't let you scale past a certain point in one go. Basically, you have to do it in a few steps. That's pretty good. Do that. And the same thing as last time. Just going to connect these two lines. We can get a profile that we can project along the path. Rotate it. Grab it at that point. And bring it up here. Right there. Grab these two. And drop it down 20 mil. So this notch lines up with our plane that we've drawn before as the fascia. We'll grab our two things that we've just imported, going to group them together, and explode, explode, trim off these areas. We don't need them. Leave that one there. Now we've got this profile. What we're going to do is going to project it along the path that we've just drawn of our gutter and our roof. So we're going to double click, open up this group, and start drawing a line around the roof. Into the orbit tool, escape to get back into the line tool, zoom, zoom, zoom. Right, now, what I'm going to do is, because we've got a group selected, I can press Control A or Command A on a Mac, which is what I'm on. I'm going to hold Shift and select our gutter. So we only want the path selected. We go up to Tools, go up to Follow Me, and then just click on the face. And it'll take a little while, it calculates it, and it will project that face along the entire path that we've just drawn. So now we have a roof, a fascia, and some walls. Now, see how this is a bluey, kind of a greeny color? It's because it's inside out. Now we need to come down here, select everything, right click, and go reverse face. Make everything white again. Now obviously roofs are not a flat plane like this. They have ridges. So we need to make the roof look a bit more real. And just edit this a little bit and bring the roof out a bit further so I can do what I want. Now, I'm just going to find a picture. This is a great example of a Dutch gable roof. It's very Australian style. Now, what you can see, it actually hasn't got a gutter on at the moment, but it's got a fascia there, and it's also got these ridge cappings around. Now, these make the corners of where the two sheets of roof intersect, make that very nice looking. It also stops water getting into the roof. So we're going to actually start by kind of modeling those. Now, I usually do offset this face. I usually do it 140 millimeters. It's not for any real great reason. It's what I found to look most realistic. Do something again for all of these faces. This last face. I'll go back to this picture. You can see that this capping, ridge capping, doesn't come along this bottom face, but when we offset, it brings it across the bottom face. So what we have to do is just delete all these lines here. But now this isn't a face anymore. So what we need to do is come and select each of these and scale them through so they intersect with the bottom line of our roof again. It's a bit tedious, I know, but yeah, I haven't found an easier way of doing this just yet. If I find an easier way, I'll let you know. Technically, you wouldn't really need to delete the lines, because usually most rendering engines don't take line elements into account, and they take faces. So you can basically have as messy a drawing as you like, as long as they're all lines that will come through right. I like to keep a neat model. Now, what we do, depending on what style of roof sheeting you use, for instance, I'm using custom orb, which looks like this. You can see here it's 17 millimeters deep. I actually go a bit further, I go 20 millimeters down on all of these. Drop them down. I just use push-pull, P, 20, I orbit around, do this last one, 20 mil. Alright, it's starting to look like a house. Now we need to put a garage door. Let me just have a look. Australian garage door. There's a few different types around. This is not a very common style. I don't actually like it very much. A more common one is this one. Slimline one with quite kind of fine little louver style door. I might use this one. Then again, I might try it for something a little bit nicer looking. Timber grain look ones are quite good. They look nice. Quite expensive in reality compared to just an instant steel door. Yeah. I might just use this one. Use that one as a template. Come in here, down, click R for rectangle, orbit round, get back into my rule, get back in, come back down here. Make a face the size of the opening that I want to cover, and group it so it's easier to use. I'm going to move it out. What I'm going to do is I am going to go here, and go 115 millimeters across. So this is our single, call it thingy along the bottom. One of these, I'm just going to duplicate it up once I've drawn it. Go back to our model, and come out maybe 15 millimeters, and come up, join that, and come here, and cut it down. So there, doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to show that it's got a crease there. It might be a bit too harsh. So I'm going to bring this back this way a little bit. Not that way, this way. I'm going to bring it back maybe 5 millimeters. And there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can either project it across like this, duplicate it, up. It's actually the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to press the X key on my keyboard. I'm going to write 10, press enter, and it makes an array. But I'm not going to do that first. I'm going to select it all, and group it. I'm actually going to make it a component, so if I change one, all the other ones change at the same time. Do the same thing again, 115, which is how high it is, X 20. Now we're going to see that's actually gone over the top, so I'm going to delete that last one. Select all, it's all grouped together already. Select that point there, come back, put it in place. Now for our garage door, I'm going to do a common trick just to make houses look a little bit nicer, give them a little bit more shadow lines around the place. I'm actually going to make these bond beams, offset back in 100 mil. Keep it accurate, I'm actually going to bring in 100 mil this way again, because they are 200 millimeters wide, not 100. In this picture, you can see that there's an extra little bit of column there and there. I might do that. It's nice. And we come out 200 and come across 400. Actually, I'm going to come across 200. Get back in. Group it. Project it up. Scroll it. Project it up to the eaves. And here, I'm going to copy it over to the other side. A bit more shadow definition. I actually think this angle is a bit too much, so I'm going to angle it down, back, angle it down, update the scene. Right now, I think that's good for part 1. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to add the roof profile into each part of these, so they're going to have the ridges up and down all along. It's better to actually do ridges than it is to do just a texture, even with a displacement map or a bump map, doesn't look anywhere near as real, it doesn't show the reflections anywhere near as nicely. I found that the amount of time it takes to do it is worth the results that you get, especially if you have that plugin that I was mentioning before. I'm going to download it just for this computer, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. I'm going to show you two different ways. If you don't have that plugin, then that's fine. I'll show you a way of doing it. Alright, I think that's good for part one. If you have any questions, let me know. I can do a follow-up video. In the next video as well, we're going to do front door. We're going to do these two windows. These are double hung windows. I'll just show you quickly. It looks a little bit like this. Slides up and down. It's a very American style that's showing up. They're not really. This is more like what we use in Australia. It's, yeah, very different style, American and Australian houses. It's interesting. Yeah. Change this angle again. Just update it. Alright, hope that was helpful. Leave any questions and comments below. Alright, catch you next time.